Hi, Chapman Steve, and I'm going to do an addition to the video that I just posted. And when I put in the phrase limited earthly being, I want to discuss that. And also, there's a story out there, and it's kind of all tied together. But what's interesting, and I've talked about this in other previous videos, that I had a vision. And the vision is before this lifetime, before you come in, the vision I had was like a body of water. And what it represents is the womb of woman, or the life that you're about to go into. And as soon as your spiritual being goes into this body of water, as soon as your head goes under, everything you've ever known, all the friends you've had, all the spiritual friends you've had, everything you've ever known is temporarily erased. And so it has to be that way. In order to live this life, you have to put that phrase, limited earthly being. And so, I wanted to kind of get into that a little bit, what it really actually means. But let me get into the story. And the story goes like this. It has to do with a woman who had a kind of tragedy. And the tragedy is that she had a car accident, and she hit somebody, and that person died. And so, her whole life just felt this remorse. She just could not get over it. She felt such guilt killing this person. It was determined in the course that she really wasn't at fault, but she took it personally as it was her fault. So she was living in this, in this lifetime. She was really living that sense of remorse. She had an NDE experience based on, I think, being in a hospital, some sort of incident. But she had an NDE experience, and she, in the NDE experience, here's what's really interesting, and this is the point that I'm trying to make. Because that person she hit, and she felt the sense of remorse for all this lifetime, her whole lifetime, she finds out in the NDE experience that it has to be one of her best friends. This male had to be one of her best friends in the previous life, or in the spiritual world. So here's the question, and hopefully you're kind of getting what I'm getting at. But all the people that we know, all the people that are involved in our life, our friends, our family members, mothers and fathers, wives, children, everybody, were they part of our being before we were born into this life? So what I'm saying is that, just think how things are done. And when I say everything and anything is possible with God, it really is. You just, there seems to be kind of a format. There seems to be, but I got to tell you, some things are just so out there. And that's what, even when I'm talking about it, I feel this limited earthly being. But anyway, I wanted to share the story to you, and I'm going to keep this kind of video pretty short. But anyway, it was just interesting, and it's a side note to when I said in the previous video about the COVID patient, our limited earthly being, and that's what it really is. We know more. So if somebody says to you, ask the question, do you know everything? The statement is, or you can answer back, yeah, I do, but it's been temporarily erased. So as I said, it's just there's much more going on in all this, and it's far grand. In the next life and how this life is. And sometimes when you have insight like that in this life, you kind of look at things a little bit more differently. And we all go through hard times. We all have our moments when we're going through some real hard times. But as I said, sometimes when you step back a little bit and you get kind of perspective on it, that's what I'm trying to do, is kind of give you more perspective. And, in the hospital, I deal with a lot of patients, and I got to tell you, they go through a lot. And the good news is that I've got some COVID patients, and they're getting through it. And to be honest with you, they've been through hell and back. And I can't mention any names, but they've been through it. I mean, for a month. And they're getting through it. So I'm just saying, all of us have our story. Every one of us have our story, things that we're going through. But as I said, sometimes you have to step back. Our whole sense of being in the next life and everything else is far more grand. It's just far more grand it's like, wait till we get back, when we go back home, when that time comes, when God calls us home, only then, He calls us home. And I had a discussion with somebody just recently, about when He calls you home. Anyway, I just want to share the story with you, and I'm going to go ahead and sign off here, but I appreciate your time as always. I hope your day is going well. But I just wanted to share this with you. Thanks again for your time, and then I'll see you in the next video. Thanks again. Appreciate it.